Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. This time I'm coming to you a little bit further south of my normal location. I'm joining this guy today down in his neck of the woods, and we're going to check out, I believe, 2 or 3 locations today. The first one I have some notes here. It was a Lykens power plant, which is part of the Short Mountain Colliery. I do have some information I will share with you throughout the video, but there's supposed to be some remnants of it, of where the plant used to be, and I'll share some of the details about how it used to operate and what its primary functions were, and we'll see what else we find. So after this video, I should expect to see at least 1 or 2 more videos from this trip. So let's get started and come along with me.
We're back at this thing. This is a thing I thought was a trestle of some kind, because there's a date up there. Does it say 1918?
It's 13 or 18, I can't tell.
13.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is, Cliff believes the remains of a trestle of some sorts. It's hard to see with all the brush here, but these keep going, just one after another, all the way down. So there may have been something on top as far as tracks or a platform, but it's hard to tell. You can kind of get a sense of it here, how far down it goes. There's at least a half a dozen of them. Pretty neat looking. Currently standing underneath one of them right now, and Cliff is somewhere back there making his way through. And looks like we came to the end of the line. Just a notch cut out of that wall there. So I guess we have to go around it, right?
Yeah, they keep on going now.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Here's like a big pad right here. There's 1913. There's a date. So I just want to go over some of the information I got from a website that Cliff shared with me. But the construction of the power plant here took place from 1919 to 1921. And the plant's purpose was to burn the refuse banks of coal to generate electricity for the colliery and the surrounding towns. There is basically huge mountains and piles of the coal, dust, and dirt, which is the waste from the coal mines, and they had no way to dispose of it, so they came up with the idea to burn it to create electricity. And approximately 2.5 million tons had accumulated by 1919. It says the pile was so high that the residents of Lykens were unable to see the surrounding mountains, so you can imagine it's just a heaping pile of this material, and they came up with a pretty good way to dispose of it and to provide energy for the local towns and the colliery itself. So once we get closer, I do have an older black and white photo showing how the plant used to look with some tall stacks. I will share that later on once we get closer as a kind of before and after. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you, so let's keep moving. Okay, so where we just left off in the video, we were down that way about half a mile. We had to drive up a game road, and we came upon a building that was here and once used for part of the power plant. It was believed to be part of a maintenance building. But as Cliff has explained, since he was last here, things have changed. None of this stuff was here as far as the cars and trailers. And it's actually posted now, but we spoke to a gentleman inside the trailer there who owns the property now and gave us permission to be here, but they are going to kind of reclaim the property here and save some of the foundations, but it is going to change from when you would last see it in Cliff's videos or going forth from here. But just alongside here we have some more foundations here, supports. Yeah, 1915. And the power plant's going to be further down the road here, but this was all tied into it somehow. And up in the woods, it's hard to see, but there's a lot of different supports, concrete supports and footings and stuff like that for different parts of the operation. But we're going to continue straight on and check out the remains of the power plant. Okay, so we've reached closer to where we want to be. Cliff mentioned this was the Briquette plant right here. It's right in front of us, and off in the distance, we get closer. There's a little elevated area. That's where the actual power plant was. And from what he explained when he was last here, none of this was visible. It was all, overgrown and covered in piles of dirt and rubble. And the owner said they're starting to clear this out to expose the foundation, but to keep it just as a memory as what was here at one time. But I guess we kind of came in a good time now because more of it is visible. But it's hard to imagine, what was here. But I will put up that picture now showing it when it was in operation. You can see what a pretty impressive operation they had here. So after seeing that photo, this is the aftermath. So a lot has changed over the years. And it's one thing that's always certain, is change.
It was a way of, because they couldn't really sell the coal dust as is, so they would turn over briquettes to make
Those of you that know, I always say, it's not an abandoned place unless there's a toy. So it's officially abandoned.
This was quite a big building along here.
So what we're looking at here is the remnants of the power plant. That's the foundation structure for it. You can see the concrete walls obviously in front of it, and off to the left here there's some more walls, and up in the distance it even keeps going up there. So although there's no actual buildings here, there's at least remnants of it, so we could picture in our mind what used to be here. And obviously the whole reason for doing this is documenting history, because perfect example is Cliff was here about 2 years ago, checked it out. We're here today and it changed considerably from new owners taking over, and that's what happens nowadays. History gets lost and basically bulldozed over, but at least in this case they are going to keep the foundation and not remove it. So that's one good part of having the right people taking over and understanding what used to be here and helping keep it in memories of people's hearts and minds. There's just different levels here, or different walls, tons of concrete here. You can see there's like a big slanted support here to help keep the wall braced. And we may or may not be standing inside of a building right now, but we're going to crawl up there and get a closer look at the inside. See here, it looks like this might have been one of the furnaces here, and there may or may not have been a large stack coming out of it, which we've seen in the black and white photo, because there's one here and one right there, so it's a possibility. This looks like the inside lining of a furnace, similar to what you see inside of a kiln. So, I don't know. You know what, maybe we can go in there and see. Okay, so we're inside of it. I'm not gonna hang out here too long. You kind of see it's kind of crumbly, but I don't know, this may or may not have been one of the stacks. Looks like at one point it was lined. with all this tile and stuff. Oh, look at that. It says CAB, C-A-B. There's some hooks right here. So, interesting. There's some wood right there. But I think all that stuff used to be in here. It's used in like furnaces and kilns and foundries, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But this does go down a little bit deeper. It's just piled up with rubble here.
There you can see them.
Looks like there's a old electrical box there.
I didn't know what that was.
There used to be, this whole side of this mountain down along here was tailings from when they mined, you know, and then like the little white building down there.
So Cliff's talking to the owner of the property, sharing some information about it. It's pretty neat though. These all look like individual furnaces, so if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what it was.
Yeah, there was a couple buildings.
And this is all rubble, lots of brick. And you can see it was partially over there, the Briquette building. So, pretty expensive. And somewhere around here there was the mountain of coal dust that they burned, so I'm guessing it's somewhere probably down that way. You can even see here there's a metal kind of almost like an A-frame there, and a smaller one behind it, which looks like maybe had a spool on it, maybe for a cable or a guide. As you can see, I'm standing on this little wall here, try to get a good view of everything, but pretty neat place. Although it's not a completely intact location, it's still a big part of history and something that at least myself am learning about today. And thankfully for people like Cliff, he discovers these places and shares them with everyone else, and that's why I'm doing this for you guys, because you know, at one point it's related to coal mining history, and you know, that played a big part in Pennsylvania, especially anthracite coal. And down here in Schuylkill County, you know, we're not too far from Shamokin, Centralia, other places. We're within, you know, a stone's throw of those places, which were huge coal towns. So I just need to see the remnants of these operations to see what the men had to deal with and go through to make a living for their family, and to show how towns receive their power. You can see some more letters right there, ABC, but and myself and Cliff were talking to the owner for a little bit, and he was actually pretty knowledgeable. He bought this property, closed on it back in April, but he said the previous owner is the one who demolished this, and this is why it looks the way it does. It used to be an intact building, just like the one that we checked out on the way down to here, which was a type of maintenance building. And that was built first, this was built second, roughly 2 to 3 years apart. And those, I thought, were furnaces in the stacks. And he said they were something related for boilers. The stacks are actually closer to the other building there. So I did make a mistake. But yeah, right where Cliff's crawling in, they're not furnaces, they were some type of boiler. And the stacks were not above them, which I presume that they were. So at least we got the correct information now. And he did say he's leaving this property pretty much the way it is, that he's going to clean it up obviously, but he's not going to raise it, not going to demolish it. He's going to leave everything that's still standing here standing, because it's a part of local history. He said when he was a kid, he used to come here and play, and the buildings were intact. You know, he was running around inside of them, and even these different levels were all part of this building. I mean, this was one large operation here, which that had, like, you know, a basement level, first level, second level, and even up to a third. So this is pretty expansive, and I thought they were different buildings, but he said there's one big building here with different levels. I'm going to see if I can try and get up there. Maybe we'll get a closer look and give a look down from up there, but definitely learned a lot from not only being here in person, but talking to him, because he was familiar with this place. He hung around here as a kid. You know, most kids, you know, usually go exploring and getting into places they probably shouldn't. And now he's an owner of the property and is trying his best to clean it up and save it. So just want to say thanks to him for letting us come here and check it out today. But definitely some neat structural areas here. Looks pretty cool. So if Cliff's up for the task, we're gonna try and wander up there and check out and see what's there. You find anything?
No.
So remember earlier I showed those A-frame supports, which I thought were for a cable or a guide. They're actually for these pipes right here, he explained. Came down the mountain here, and those supports, those A-frame supports are on little structures like this. They're actually over there farther, but they're actually holding these pipes coming down the mountain, which he believes were from possibly an air shaft or a vent shaft to drain water out of the mine. So that's what they were used for. Okay, a little out of breath. I had to climb down, well, first up and then down a mountain. But we made it to this next elevated area here, and got a nice view of where we were just a moment ago. You can see, so it's kind of thick up here, not really much to see, just the walls, but as I mentioned, we would be inside the building right now. This would be one complete structure all the way over. So, pretty neat. And here's a look from up here. It's a nice view of it. Gives you a better idea of how it used to look. As far as the interior part of the building goes, again, those were the two boilers there. And somewhere over there, if we're able to find them, is where the stacks were. But I'm not sure if we'll find those. You can almost see up on top of there too is like some wood or tile or something was on top of there. Probably some type of chimney. Yeah, probably, I'm going to zoom in right here. That stuff, that the tile lining or the chimney lining. So again, if you guys have any idea, you know, or more details about this, feel free to share them down below. So we made it up a third level now. You can see the remnants of a fence up here. But this is the very top level. You can't really go any higher, but this would have been the top section of the building. It would have went clear out, and the wall would be on the back side there. If anybody's in the market for a fixer-upper Jeep, got one right here. And for the engine, it's chainsaw propelled. Makes you wonder what happened to this, that it went up in flames. It's even like melted in there. The floor is frozen solid. So we're standing in what Cliff explained before is a briquette building, which I misunderstood. I thought it was for the making of bricks, and I know that doesn't make sense, but it's actually for the making of like coal briquettes for burning, for almost like for grills. I don't know if they were used for grills, but that's what they were made for, probably for furnaces. And that's what this part was. And behind me is where the stacks were and the boiler area, the furnace area. So that's about all there is to see here. I think he's taking me a little bit down the road to see the remnants of a coal mine that is flooded right now, but we're gonna go check it out. So a little bit more to come, and then we'll be wrapping up this part of this destination and heading on to the next one. It's too bad this camera doesn't have smell-o-vision because this stinks really bad. Really strong, acidic sulfur smell. Like 10 dozen rotten eggs. You can see it has a date 1914. And they have a built-in drain, so I'll give you a closer look at it. See if we'll give you guys a look inside there. Yeah, it goes down in a slope, and it's flooded. Okay everyone, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed that look at the old remains of the Short Mountain Colliery and the Lykens power plant. Pretty interesting to see, lots of history here. I want to give a special thanks to the owner for letting us come on his property to check it out. So just keep in mind, if you want to come here, ask for permission. He said that he has had a few people arrested for coming here illegally, especially at night doing some, I guess you could say, not so good things. Anyways, I also want to thank Cliff for allowing me to join him today. This was his location. He's been here once before. And I'll link up his video and his channel down below if you want to check it out. But if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, leave them down below. My favorite part was probably those openings I crawled into where he said the boilers used to be. And obviously that building right there is also a pretty cool building from the early 1900s. So if you enjoyed today's adventure, give it a thumbs up down below. If you want to see more videos just like this one, just subscribe and ring that notification bell. As I always say, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.